How to win alone. Hi everyone, welcome to English Achieve. Today's video is going to change the way you see success, struggle, and your own strength. What if I told you the strongest version of you is not built in a crowd, but in silence? What if your greatest victory will come at a time when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and no one even believes in you? Sounds lonely, but this is exactly where real power is born. Today's video is about something most people fear, but very few ever master: how to win alone. Because the truth is simple: if you cannot stand alone, you will fall with the crowd. Now let's begin. Technique 1. Accept the reality of solitude. Winning alone always begins with one powerful step: acceptance. Not resistance, not frustration, not complaint, just acceptance. There will be moments in your life when people walk away, when others fail to understand your vision, and when the support you expected simply doesn't come. In those moments, it's easy to feel abandoned, to question your worth, or to believe that something is wrong with you. But the truth is, nothing is wrong. This is part of the process. Life is not removing people to weaken you, it is creating space to strengthen you. And in that space, you are given a choice. You can either feel rejected, or you can feel selected. Selected for growth, selected for transformation, selected to rise above the noise. Solitude is not a punishment, it is preparation. It is a phase where distractions are reduced so that your focus can increase. It is a time when the outside voices become quiet, so your inner voice can finally be heard. Most people never reach their true potential because they are constantly surrounded by noise, opinions, expectations, comparisons, and distractions. They spend their lives trying to escape being alone because being alone forces them to face themselves. And for many, that is uncomfortable. Silence reveals everything they try to ignore: their fears, their doubts, their insecurities. So they run toward noise, toward validation, toward anything that keeps them from sitting still. But if you are serious about winning alone, you must learn to sit in that silence without fear. Because silence is not empty, it is full of answers. When you are alone, you begin to understand your thoughts more clearly. You start to notice what truly matters to you, not what society tells you to chase. You become aware of your habits, your patterns, and the small decisions that shape your life. And most importantly, you begin to discover a strength that you never knew existed within you. There is a rare kind of power in being comfortable with your own company, when you no longer need constant approval, when you no longer depend on others to guide your actions. You become independent in the truest sense. You are no longer controlled by opinions or limited by expectations. You move based on purpose, not pressure. And that is what separates winners from the rest. If you can sit alone without distraction, without reaching for your phone, without needing someone to entertain or validate you, then you are already ahead of most people. Because you have learned something they haven't. You have learned how to be with yourself. And once you master that, everything changes. Your focus becomes sharper, your mind becomes clearer, and your actions become more intentional. Winning alone begins the moment you stop seeing loneliness as a weakness and start seeing it as training. Training your mind to stay strong, training your emotions to stay stable, and training your character to grow without depending on anyone else. It is not an easy path, but it is a powerful one. Because in solitude, you are not losing connection, you are building yourself. And the stronger you become alone, the more unstoppable you will be when the world finally sees you. Technique 2. Build self-discipline without supervision. When no one is watching, who are you? This is not just a question, it is the foundation of your future. Because in reality, your life is not shaped by the moments when people are observing you, praising you, or expecting something from you. Your life is shaped in the quiet moments, when there is no pressure, no deadline, no audience, just you and your choices. Anyone can appear hardworking when there is a boss checking, a teacher grading, or a crowd watching. But the truth is, those moments are easy. The real challenge begins when there is no one to impress and no one to fear. That is where your true character is revealed. That is where winners are separated from the rest. Self-discipline is the ability to show up for yourself every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It is not about motivation, because motivation is unreliable. Some days you will feel inspired, excited, and ready to take action. But most days, you won't. Most days will feel ordinary, slow, and even frustrating. And if you only act when you feel motivated, you will stop more often than you start. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Discipline does not ask how you feel, it tells you what must be done. There will be mornings when your mind tells you to stay in bed a little longer. There will be days when your focus disappears and distractions feel stronger than your goals. There will be moments when you feel tired, bored, or completely uninterested in doing the work. But this is exactly where growth happens. You don't feel like working? Do it anyway. You don't feel like studying? Do it anyway. You feel distracted, unmotivated, or even lost? Do it anyway, because every time you act despite your feelings, you are building strength. You are training your mind to follow your decisions, not your emotions. Winning alone means becoming everything you once depended on others for. You become your own boss, setting your own standards. You become your own coach, pushing yourself beyond comfort. You become your own source of accountability, refusing to make excuses. This level of responsibility is not easy, but it is powerful. Because once you stop relying on others to guide you, you take full control of your life. The danger of depending on others is that your progress becomes inconsistent. When they are there, you move forward. When they are not, you stop. Your success becomes temporary, unstable, and unpredictable. But when you learn to push yourself, something changes. Your growth becomes steady, your habits become stronger, your confidence becomes real, because it is built on your own actions, not someone else's influence. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it will feel difficult. You will struggle to stay consistent. You will fail some days. But if you keep going, if you keep showing up, it will become part of who you are. And once discipline becomes your habit, you no longer need external pressure to move forward. You will act automatically, consistently, and with purpose. This is how you win alone. Not by waiting for the perfect moment, not by hoping for motivation, but by deciding that no matter what happens, no matter how you feel, you will continue. Because in the end, it is not talent, luck, or support that creates success. It is the quiet, repeated choice to keep going, even when no one is watching. Technique 3. Stop seeking validation. One of the biggest reasons people fail to win alone is simple, but powerful. They are addicted to validation. They don't just want to grow. They want to be seen growing. They don't just want to succeed. They want others to notice their effort, appreciate their progress, and constantly remind them that they are doing well. At first, this may seem normal. After all, everyone likes encouragement. Everyone enjoys being supported. But the problem begins when your energy depends on it. When your motivation rises only when people praise you and disappears when they don't, you lose control over your own journey. Many people start strong. They share their goals, they tell others about their plans, and they feel excited when they receive attention and positive feedback. But as time passes, that attention fades. People get busy. They stop asking. They stop noticing. And suddenly, the same person who was once full of energy begins to slow down. Doubt enters their mind. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe this isn't worth it. And eventually, they stop. Not because they lacked ability, but because they lacked validation. Here's the harsh truth that most people don't want to accept. The world rarely supports you at the beginning. In fact, most people won't believe in you until you have already proven yourself. They won't clap when you are struggling, they won't celebrate your small wins, and they won't always understand your vision. Not because they are against you, but because they are focused on their own lives. And if you expect constant support from others, you will feel disappointed again and again. This is why winning alone requires a shift in mindset. You must learn to do the work even when no one is watching, even when no one is encouraging you, even when no one understands what you are trying to build. You must become comfortable with silence, comfortable with being unseen, comfortable with moving forward without approval. Because the truth is, applause comes at the end, not at the beginning. If your energy depends on applause, you will quit before you ever reach the stage. You will give up in the quiet phase, where growth is happening but recognition is not. And that is exactly where most people fail. Winning alone means trusting your vision, even when it feels lonely. It means believing in your path, even when others question it. It means continuing your journey without needing someone to say, "You're doing great." Because deep down, you already know what you are doing. You already know your effort matters. And that inner confidence is far more powerful than any external praise. Validation from others is temporary. It comes and goes. One day they support you. The next day they forget. But self-belief is different. It stays with you. It grows with you. It becomes your foundation. When you believe in yourself, you don't stop just because no one is watching. You don't slow down just because no one is clapping. You keep moving, because your belief is not based on others. It is built within you. And once you reach that point, you become unstoppable. Technique 4. Turn pain into power. Being alone is not always peaceful. Sometimes it feels quiet and calm, but other times it feels heavy, uncomfortable, and deeply painful. There are moments when silence becomes loud, when your thoughts begin to echo, and when it feels like the world has moved on without you. You may feel forgotten, ignored, or even rejected. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that something is wrong with your life. It's easy to feel stuck, to lose motivation, and to question your path. But here's the truth that most people don't understand. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is a signal. Pain is energy, and that energy can either break you down or build you into something stronger. Most people try to escape pain. They distract themselves, avoid it, or run from it in any way they can. They look for comfort, quick relief, or temporary happiness just to stop the feeling. But in doing so, they waste one of the most powerful forces for growth. Because pain, when used correctly, can push you beyond your limits. It can wake you up, sharpen your focus, and force you to take action. The same pain that makes you feel weak can also make you powerful, if you choose to use it. When you feel rejected, instead of closing yourself off, use that feeling as motivation to improve. Let it remind you that you still have more to build, more to prove, not to others, but to yourself. When you feel ignored, instead of seeking attention, go deeper into your work. Focus more. Refine your skills. Become so good that you cannot be overlooked. When you feel lost, instead of giving up, create direction. Set new goals. Take small steps forward. Even if you don't have all the answers, movement will always bring clarity. Winning alone means transforming your lowest moments into your strongest fuel. It means refusing to stay in a state of weakness just because life became difficult. Everyone experiences pain, but not everyone uses it. That is the difference. Some people allow pain to define them, to limit them, and to keep them stuck, but others use it as a turning point. They decide that their struggles will not be wasted. They decide that every disappointment, every failure, and every difficult moment will be used as a step forward. It's important to understand that feeling pain does not make you weak. It makes you human. The real weakness comes from staying in that pain without growth. The people who win alone are not those who live perfect lives or avoid hardship. They are the ones who face it, feel it, and then rise above it. They don't deny their struggles, they transform them. Over time, something powerful begins to happen. The The same pain that once slowed you down starts to push you forward. The same struggles that once confused you start to guide you. You become stronger, more focused, and more resilient. And eventually, you realize that your hardest moments were not holding you back. They were preparing you. Because in the end, pain is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your strength. Technique 5. Create a vision bigger than your emotions. Your emotions will change every single day. Some mornings you will wake up feeling powerful, focused, and ready to take on the world. You will feel motivated, inspired, and completely in control. But other days will feel very different. You may feel tired, confused, distracted, or even doubtful about everything you are doing. This is normal. It is part of being human. Emotions are not stable. They rise and fall. They come and go. And they are often influenced by small things that have nothing to do with your bigger goals. But if your actions depend on how you feel in the moment, your progress will always be inconsistent. You will start strong and stop quickly. You will move forward one day and fall back the next. And over time, this pattern will keep you stuck. That is why you need something stronger than emotions. You need a vision. A vision is not just a goal. It is a clear and powerful picture of the life you want to create. It is your reason for waking up early, for working late, for pushing through discomfort, and for continuing even when nothing seems to be working. A strong vision gives your life direction. It reminds you why you started, especially on the days when you feel like quitting. When you don't have a clear vision, your mind becomes weak against excuses. Every small difficulty feels like a reason to stop. Every distraction pulls you away. But when your vision is strong, something changes. Your focus becomes sharper. Your decisions become easier. You stop asking, "Do I feel like doing this?" and start asking, "Does this move me closer to my vision?" And that simple shift can transform your entire life. Take a moment and ask yourself a deeper question. Why do I want to succeed? Not the surface-level answer, but the real one. Is it freedom? The ability to live life on your own terms? Is it respect? The desire to prove something to yourself or to others? Is it a better life for your family? The need to create security, comfort, and opportunity for the people you love? Whatever your reason is, it must be clear and meaningful to you. Because that reason will carry you through your hardest days. Your vision must be bigger than your excuses. There will always be reasons to stop. You will feel tired. You will feel uncertain. You will face challenges that make you question everything. But if your vision is strong enough, those excuses will lose their power. You will keep going, not because it's easy, but because it matters. Winning alone becomes much easier when your purpose is clear. Even in moments of silence, even when you feel isolated, you are not truly lost. You are moving forward with intention. You are building something meaningful. And that gives you a quiet confidence that doesn't depend on anyone else. In the end, emotions will always come and go. But a strong vision stays. It guides you, pushes you, and reminds you of who you are becoming. And when your vision is bigger than your emotions, nothing can stop you from continuing your journey. Technique 6. Master your mind. When you are alone, your biggest enemy is not other people, not your circumstances, and not even your past. It is your own mind. Because when there is no noise around you, no distractions, and no one to influence your thinking, your thoughts become louder. And those thoughts are not always helpful. In fact, many of them will try to stop you before you even begin. Your mind will create doubt, fear, and hesitation. It will whisper things like, "You can't do this, you're not good enough," or "What if you fail?" These thoughts can feel real, powerful, and convincing. And if you believe them without question, they will control your actions. You will hesitate, delay, and eventually give up, not because you lacked ability, but because your mind convinced you to stop. This is why winning alone requires mental control. You cannot allow every thought to guide your decisions. You must learn to step back and observe your thoughts instead of immediately reacting to them. Just because a thought appears in your mind does not mean it is true. Thoughts are automatic, often shaped by past experiences, fears, and insecurities. But you are not your thoughts. You are the one who chooses whether to believe them or not. This realization is powerful, because the moment you stop blindly obeying your thoughts, you take back control. Training your mind is similar to training your body. At first, it feels difficult. Your mind will resist change. Negative thinking may feel natural because you have practiced it for a long time without even realizing it. But with effort and awareness, you can change this pattern. You can begin to replace weak thoughts with stronger ones. When your mind says, "I can't do this," you respond with, "I will figure it out." When it says, "I'm not good enough," you remind yourself, "I am improving every day." When it asks, "What if I fail?" you answer, "What if I succeed?" These small shifts may seem simple, but over time they build a powerful mindset. The way you speak to yourself matters more than anything. If your inner voice is negative, critical, and limiting, your actions will reflect that. But if your inner voice is strong, supportive, and focused, you will begin to act with confidence. Speak to yourself like a winner even before you see results. Encourage yourself. Push yourself. Remind yourself of your strength, especially when things feel difficult. When you master your mind, everything changes. You become calmer under pressure. You stay focused despite distractions. You keep moving forward even when doubts appear. Instead of being controlled by fear, you act with purpose. Instead of being stopped by uncertainty, you continue with belief. Because in the end, your mind is either your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. And when you learn to control it, you don't just change your thoughts, you change your entire life. Technique 7. Stay consistent in silence. Most people want fast results. They want success to happen quickly, easily, and in a way that everyone can see and admire. They imagine a moment where everything suddenly changes, where effort instantly turns into achievement, and where recognition comes without long struggle. But real life does not work like that. Winning alone is not fast, and it is not loud. It is slow, quiet, and often invisible. It happens in moments that no one notices, and in days that feel completely ordinary. There are no big announcements, no immediate rewards, and no one cheering you on during the process. And because of that, many people misunderstand the journey and give up too early. When you are building something alone, your effort is often unseen. No one sees the hours you spend learning. No one sees the frustration when things don't work. No one sees the small improvements you make every day. And most importantly, no one sees the silent battles you fight within yourself just to stay consistent. This invisibility can feel discouraging. It can make you question whether your effort is even worth it. And this is exactly why so many people quit. Not because they are incapable, but because they cannot handle the silence of the process. But the people who truly win alone are different. They understand that silence is not emptiness, it is construction. They know that just because nothing is visible on the outside does not mean nothing is happening on the inside. So they keep going. They show up every single day, even when it feels pointless. They continue working even when results are not visible. They choose discipline over emotion and consistency over motivation. They improve little by little, step by step. They do not wait for perfect conditions or sudden inspiration. Instead, they focus on small actions repeated over time. 1 hour of practice becomes days of progress. One small improvement becomes long-term growth. And even when the changes feel slow, they trust the process. Because they understand something powerful, success is not created in public, it is revealed in public. The world only sees the results at the end. The success, the recognition, the transformation, all of it appears suddenly to others. But what people don't see is the long period of silence that made it possible. The unseen effort, the unnoticed discipline, the quiet persistence. Staying consistent in silence is not easy, but it is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It requires patience, trust, and inner strength. It means continuing even when there is no applause, no validation, and no immediate reward. But over time, this silent consistency becomes unstoppable power. Because in the end, the people who win alone are not the ones who move fast, they are the ones who never stop moving, even when no one is watching. Technique 8. Protect your energy. When you are alone, your energy becomes your most valuable asset. It is the force that drives your thoughts, your actions, your focus, and ultimately your future. In moments of solitude, you begin to realize something very important. You are fully responsible for how you use your time and attention. There is no one there to guide you every second, no one to constantly remind you of your goals, and no one to protect your focus for you. That responsibility belongs entirely to you. And because of that, your energy becomes something you must treat with great care and awareness. You cannot afford constant distractions. You cannot afford negativity that pulls you away from your purpose. You cannot afford people who drain your focus, weaken your mindset, or pull you into conversations and environments that do not help you grow. Every small distraction may seem harmless in the moment, but over time it slowly takes away your progress. A few minutes of unnecessary scrolling, a few hours of negative influence, or a few moments of emotional confusion can quietly steal the time you were supposed to use for building your future. Winning alone requires you to become selective with everything you allow into your life. You must be careful about what you watch, because what you consume shapes your thinking. You must be careful about who you listen to, because the voices around you influence your beliefs. And you must be careful about where you spend your time, because your environment directly affects your growth. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Not every situation deserves your emotional response. Many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lose control over their energy. They scatter their focus in too many directions. They give attention to things that do not matter. And slowly, their motivation fades, their discipline weakens, and their goals become unclear. But those who learn to protect their energy move differently. They understand that focus is limited, and once it is wasted, it cannot be easily recovered. Every distraction you accept today is a small piece of your future being taken away. It may not feel serious in the moment, but over time, it creates distance between where you are and where you want to be. That is why protecting your energy is not just a habit, it is a necessity. It is a form of self-respect. It is a decision to value your future more than temporary comfort. When you start protecting your energy, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become stronger, your focus becomes deeper. You stop reacting to everything around you and start choosing what deserves your attention. You become intentional instead of reactive. And that shift changes everything. Because in the end, your energy shapes your life, and when you protect it with discipline and awareness, you begin to build a future that is focused, stable, and powerful, even when no one else understands the value of what you are doing. Technique 9. Learn everything you can. When you are alone, you have one of the most powerful advantages in life: time. Time that is not constantly interrupted by people, noise, or endless responsibilities. Time that can either be wasted or invested. And what you do with this time will decide the direction of your entire future. Because in solitude, you are not just waiting, you are building. You are either becoming more valuable or slowly becoming stagnant. There is no middle ground. This is why learning becomes your greatest weapon. When you are alone, you have the space to grow your mind without distraction. You can read books that expand your thinking. You can watch educational content that sharpens your understanding. You can practice skills repeatedly until they become part of you. You can explore new ideas, new knowledge, and new ways of thinking that most people never take the time to discover. This is a rare opportunity Because most people are busy wasting their time on entertainment, comparison, and distraction, while you can choose to invest your time into growth. Winning alone is not just about working hard. Hard work without direction can still lead nowhere. That is why working smart is just as important. And working smart begins with knowledge. Knowledge gives you direction when you feel lost. It gives you confidence when you feel uncertain. It gives you power when you feel weak. Because the more you know, the more control you have over your decisions, your actions, and your future. When you learn continuously, something powerful starts to happen. Your thinking becomes sharper. You begin to understand patterns, opportunities, and mistakes more clearly. You stop repeating the same errors because you start learning from them. You begin to see life differently, not as something random, but as something you can improve step by step through understanding and action. While others are spending their time on temporary entertainment, you are building permanent value. While others are consuming distractions, you are consuming knowledge. And over time, this difference becomes visible. Not immediately, not quickly, but steadily. The effort you put into learning today becomes the strength you carry tomorrow. This is the real power of learning alone. You are not dependent on anyone else to grow your mind. You are not waiting for opportunities. You are preparing for them. And when the right moment comes, you are ready because you have spent your time wisely. In the end, knowledge is not just information. It is power, clarity, and freedom. And when you commit to learning everything you can during your time alone, you are not just improving your skills, you are transforming your entire life from the inside out. Technique 10. Become emotionally independent. One of the strongest and most powerful traits you can develop in life is emotional independence. It is not about becoming cold, distant, or careless. It is about becoming stable from within. It means that your happiness does not depend on how others treat you. Your confidence does not depend on who believes in you. And your peace does not depend on external approval, attention, or validation. Instead, you learn to create those feelings within yourself, regardless of what is happening around you. When you are emotionally independent, you stop handing over control of your life to other people's behavior. Most people unknowingly live in emotional dependence. Their mood changes based on messages they receive, words they hear, or opinions others share. If someone praises them, they feel high. If someone ignores them, they feel low. If someone criticizes them, they feel broken. This constant emotional instability makes it very difficult to grow, because their inner world is always being controlled by the outside world. But winning alone requires something different. It requires emotional stability. It requires you to remain steady even when life is not steady. When you are emotionally independent, you begin to understand that other people's actions are not always about you. Someone ignoring you does not define your value. Someone doubting you does not determine your ability. Someone leaving your life does not destroy your future. These events may affect your feelings temporarily, but they do not control your direction. You don't break when someone ignores you because your worth is not built on attention. You don't stop when someone doubts you because your belief is not dependent on their opinion. You don't fall when someone leaves you because your strength was never tied to their presence. Instead, you stand firm, knowing that your foundation is built inside you, not outside of you. Emotional independence allows you to move through life with clarity. You respond instead of react. You think instead of panic. You continue instead of quit. It gives you the ability to stay focused on your goals even when emotions try to pull you away. It helps you remain calm in situations that would normally distract or discourage others. The most powerful realization is this: you are your own support system. You don't need to rely on constant reassurance from others to feel okay. You can motivate yourself. You can comfort yourself. You can encourage yourself when things are difficult. This does not mean you don't value people. It simply means you are not dependent on them for your emotional stability. When you reach this level, you become unshakable. Life may still bring challenges, but it no longer controls your inner peace. And that is what makes winning alone not just possible, but powerful. Technique 11. Believe that your time will come. This is the final and most important technique. Faith. Not blind hope, not wishful thinking, but a deep and steady belief that stays with you even when nothing around you seems to be changing. It is the belief that your effort is not wasted, that your struggle has meaning, that your silent work is not invisible to life itself. And most importantly, the belief that your time will come, even if it has not come yet. When you are winning alone, there will be long periods where it feels like nothing is happening. You wake up, you try, you work, you push yourself forward, but the results are not immediate. There are no big changes, no sudden breakthroughs, and no visible rewards. This is the stage where most people become discouraged. They start questioning themselves. Am I doing something wrong? Is this even worth it? Why is nothing changing? And slowly, they begin to lose hope. Not because they are incapable, but because they cannot see progress happening fast enough. But real growth is rarely visible in the beginning. It happens quietly, beneath the surface, in ways that are not immediately noticeable. Just like a seed planted in the ground, there is a hidden process taking place long before anything appears above the soil. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But inside, roots are forming, strength is building, and preparation is taking place for future growth. And only after that silent phase does the tree finally appear. Your journey is the same. Every effort you make, every hour you spend improving, every moment you choose discipline over distraction, it all matters, even if you cannot see the results yet. Your success is not absent, it is forming in silence. And silence does not mean emptiness. It means preparation. This is why belief becomes essential. Because belief is what keeps you moving when visibility disappears. It is what keeps you patient when progress feels slow. It is what keeps you consistent when doubt tries to take over your mind. Without belief, you stop early. With belief, you continue long enough to see results. So do not stop just because things feel quiet. Do not quit just because the results have not arrived yet. Keep going, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because change is happening, you just cannot see it yet. And one day, without warning, everything will shift. The effort you once questioned will suddenly make sense. The struggle you once felt will reveal its purpose, and the time you waited for will finally arrive, not because it was lucky, but because you stayed. So believe deeply, continue patiently, and trust the process, because your time will come. In the middle of your journey, when things feel slow, when things feel uncertain, remember this: English Achieve is not just a channel, it's a reminder that growth happens step by step, word by word, day by day. Final message. Winning alone is not easy. It is not comfortable, and it is not fast. In fact, most of the time, it feels slow, silent, and uncertain. There are moments when you will question your progress, and there are days when everything feels like it is moving against you. But even in those moments, something powerful is being built inside you. Because winning alone is not about speed, it is about strength. And strength is not created in comfort, it is created in struggle, in silence, and in consistency. But despite the difficulty, winning alone is powerful. Because when you learn to stand alone, you become unshakable. You stop depending on people to guide your emotions or define your worth. You stop waiting for approval before taking action. You stop asking for permission to follow your own path. Instead, you begin to move with purpose. You grow with discipline. And you win with silence, without needing to announce every step of your journey. Over time, something incredible happens. The same people who once doubted you, ignored you, or underestimated you will eventually notice your success. And they will ask, "How did you do it?" They will look for explanations, shortcuts, and hidden secrets. But deep inside, you will already know the answer. You will smile, not out of arrogance, but out of quiet understanding. Because you know the truth. You did not rely on applause. You did not depend on validation. You did not wait for perfect conditions. You did it alone, step by step, in silence, with discipline and belief. And that is what makes your success truly powerful.